And then I found myself in my essence. I have no idea how exactly. You know, you can live in alignment with your higher self, your soul. You can be in resonance. And there's a state of living your divine essence. And I find myself in that last state, to my big surprise. And that feels so different than what I expected. Because what do you think if you will live in from your essence, right? From your grandiose, from your expansion, from your soul, or however we've been calling it. If you truly live your divine essence, how do you think that feels? Well, I thought, because I often was in the space of being in bliss, being in flow, um, feeling joy, and that was the guideline also to follow the joy, right? As Bashar also says. Now, me dropping into my divine essence is none of that. So first so what I want to do here in this video is to take you through that process, because I understand I'm not the only one, obviously, that goes through that same process. From being absolutely exhausted to starting to live from not just intuition, but really that fine line of only do what resonates and what doesn't resonate, really fine-tuned. Surrender, ego death, really conscious ego death. I'm describing my process, but that process is for a lot of people that I hear. And now then in that state of beyond surrender, beyond alignment, beyond, and it's all part of it, but beyond being the resonance, me being the expansion, the energy, and into that state of divine essence. The reason why I want to make a video of it, that I'm like, what? Is this it? And I'm not complaining. No, I'm not complaining. Like, this is the present you're giving me? No, I'm not complaining at all. I just expected it to be more unicorns, more rainbows, more joy, more bliss, more being one with God, feeling fullness, which I have experienced on many more occasions, sometimes periods, and then it would slip away again. And this is not that, and which is so fascinating. So I want to explain to you what it is so you can recognize it. I guess I don't really have an agenda with this, but I want to explain it to you, and then also the stages that I just very quickly described, how I got to here, and which I don't know if it's for everyone, those stages, but do with it what supports you, or just hear me rambling. I don't plan these things. These videos, I just feel an urge to record something, and then I just go. I haven't been on for 2 weeks. I've been on holiday, and I think my holiday has been the pivotal shift. And that's, I believe, twofold, and probably many more, but that I'm conscious of. First of all, the holiday, letting go of everything, surrendering to life. I don't like to plan much in my holiday. It was we don't recall, but we thought it was the first holiday me, my mom, and my sister made. We normally don't go, the three of us, on a holiday, which was pretty amazing. We're all speaking the same language spiritually. So we went through England and Wales and a lot of high energetic spaces. Glastonbury is one big, small town of high frequency. Stonehenge, some places next to the coast in Wales, all high energy spaces. I personally didn't feel an urge to go, because it's draining it's a lot on your system to be constant in these spaces. But I think that's one of the things that, then I already have more spaces that I was, high energy spaces. Secondly, the full surrender, no plans. Yeah, we need to arrive there someday today, but if it takes 2 days, that's also fine. So really surrendering to life. And thirdly, my sister, who is highly attuned, she can constantly give you feedback where you are, which was crucial for me knowing actually where the difference between just living in alignment and being the resonance, I'm going to explain that further in a moment, or being what I feel now is that space of beingness, that space of being my essence, living my essence. And I thought always that's not possible because you're a human, and as a human you have a life, and maybe your essence, your soul, your higher self, which I have been using interchangeable, which I now understand it's more fine-tuned, but that doesn't matter. And eventually we'll get to understand the differences, and maybe you use them different. Great. Now I start to understand and feel what the differences are. But it's not really so relevant if you differentiate or not. Only when you're ready for that, I guess. I have no idea what I wanted to say here, so there you go. We go with what is. So what happened to me was, and you might know that from your life, right? That you attune to something, you meditate, you're fasting, you do breath work, or astral traveling, or just being in nature, or just creating art, or just drinking a cup of coffee for that matter. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. That you have glimpses of that state of connectiveness with more than your human being. Because you start to, that's the whole awakening, right? Start to understand there's more than your human being. I don't want to talk about that because you get glimpses of it, but and you start to live. If you start listening to it, which I've been doing my whole life, I've been living really intuitive. Even when I look back, when I was younger, everything was very intuitive, and I followed that. Not always easy, but I always followed it. And I'm starting to listen to it more and more. So that's the really first part, living in alignment with our soul, our higher self. And I've been doing that for a long time, and that's really about listening. What is there that is my path? So more and more this human with my limited beliefs and with my story. Oh, I need to make another video of that, about how we change that story so easily and how we recreate our past constantly by retelling those stories and keeping it alive, basically. Well, there's nothing there, it's just in your mind. But anyway, that's not for now. But it's something that I'm contemplating and working with that is so beautiful, and it starts to sink in. So I'm just planting a seed there for myself as well. So it's that listening. It's the listening to the soul, your higher self. I understand now it's more soul, but I've been calling it higher self. So let's stay with the terminology I used. Listening, 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 and follow the guidance. As my human is only functioning from how I gave the world meaning, how I gave life meaning, how I gave myself meaning and everyone around me, and then start living from that limitation. And I'm so much more. So more and more I'm expanding. I feel my multidimensionality. I go to places in the world where I meet my past self, I want to say, but no, I meet myself in other lifetimes. We have crossing points, and all that is not necessary, by the way. That's just my story. I don't think that is really necessary. A lot of things that I did in my life, I did years of therapies, worked with my traumas and all that, years and years and years. I don't believe that's necessary anymore at all. Yes, you need to focus on the things that are shadows, that are dark, that are holding you back. And I don't really like those terminology. It's really about, I'm rambling too much, but this all seemed to be really important somehow. I'm just following the guidance, guys. So there's a lot of things that come up in your life as limitations, as patterns, as triggers. Work with those. Those are messages that something there is still in the way of you fully blossoming and stepping into, or living in alignment with your higher self at first, and then let it burst into your life, and living in resonance, you become the tone. And then I didn't know this next phase was there. And then to be living your divine essence. Now, what I always thought was, I first want to describe this different. Living in alignment with my higher self was really the idea that I'm the human who is going with the flow of life, the river of life. I can go against the stream, I can go with the stream, but I'm on that river, and the river is then my soul, my higher self. And then when you become the resonance, you realize, wait a moment, I am that river. I am the rocks in the river, I am the shore, I am the sea where it goes to, where that river is flowing to. I'm all that. And then I lived that for just a little bit, actually. I would expected that to stay for much longer. And then at a certain point, you realize I am the ocean, I'm the world, I'm the universe, I'm everything. So I thought that everythingness would be bliss and joy and these glimpses I felt of that. That's what that would be. And this feeling what's next, right? You get a push towards something, you feel what you do next. It is as if you walk your path and you just don't know, well, you put your feet down if there will be a stone or not, but you just count on it. So it is there, every step that you take. You flow the river, realizing you are the river. I'm just using the different terminology. I'm not fully grasping this yet. I've had many, many years of living in alignment and connecting with my higher self and living in absolute alignment with that. I created Starseed Rising. It's a course where I'm still guiding. I'm not really guiding anymore, doing coaching calls within, and it's beautiful. That really helps you to start living in alignment. So I've done that for so many years. And the more I did that, the more joyful that felt and easy that felt and in flow. And some parts were difficult. Those were the ego deaths. So recently, been exhausted for a month and had ego deaths and letting go of my, I still call myself a spiritual psychologist, as it resonates, as you have a certain understanding of it. I don't really know if any title still fits. I don't really know if the things I'm still doing, if that still fits. So I'm letting go of a lot, even as the person I am professionally. I don't know. I'm in the state of not knowing. So I already started going there, right? That's already what happened before the holiday. And if you follow me here, you have heard about that. And I say all that not to just have an audience for my story. This is nothing to do with me. This is about what's happening here for so many. I think I'm just sharing, and I feel such an urge to share because it resonates with where you are and gives you a better understanding. With many people that listen to this, I guess if it's two, it's fine. Well, I don't really care anymore. But blah, blah, blue. It's not about me anymore. It's nothing to do with me, these stories that I'm sharing here. That's what I feel. So even if I share very vulnerable things or very pure, so honest, I'm absolutely purely honest. I don't care anymore. It's not about me. So when I talk about me, please feel what is in your life. Where are you with that and where are you going? It's just showing you where you're going, basically. Because many are already there and get some better grasp on it. Whatever. So then at a certain point, what happened in my holiday, the surrender, the powerful places I went to, but my sister was also very crucial. So at a certain point, I said, well, let me then be in my state of beingness, because I'm talking about that a lot, right? Can you tune in and ask her where I am with that? Is that state, I think she used the word your core, living your core, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, is that what you're talking about? Because it's very difficult to put really words to this. The more we go away from the humanness, the less words we have, right? So I said to her, let me go into that state. Can you then feel me? And her reaction was, she's very less words, but more expression. So her reaction was, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in this whole zone right now. She says, you're acting, you're doing. I'm like, but that's the only thing I know. And yes, to me, that was a state of beingness, high frequency bliss, feeling wonderful. And that state for me, it's very, very easy to channel and to have these psychic abilities. And then that's my home. That's what I thought was homecoming. And she's like, in the sense that she's giving me feedback that that's not it. It's like, so what is it then? She says, I don't know how to explain it to you. At a certain point, we have another stone formation and beautiful energy. Well, supposedly I didn't feel it there actually, but she says to me, well, your core is a place. I said, I can hardly imagine that is true. She says, yes, and I can get you there. I'm like, yes, please. So we have been talking about the Palladians. I don't know for what reason, but we got, and I don't know if this is all relevant, but I think it's important to tell anyway, because it might resonate with some people. She says, imagine that you have Earth here. And then she had me walk, and there was a piece of land, had me walk. This is Earth, and this is the Palladians, the Palladian system. It's not so relevant that is the Palladians, but we just had a reference point in the universe that we knew. That's what I think that was. And then she says, from there, you go down, much further than this distance, down. Now, you can't walk down on a piece of land, so she had me walk further. So here was Earth, here was the Palladians, and then I walked somewhere here, and then said, stop. And then I felt into the place, and I felt myself sinking into it. Feeling huge. I felt like a huge being. And I felt so at ease, so at home, but not the home that I used to feel when I go to Ducturians, or I forgot the name of the other ones, where I go, it feels so beautiful and homecoming, but it's nothing to do with my human life. This had to do with my human life. Because, I didn't understand what it was yet. My sister is, this is your core. And I'm like, that is not a place. That can't be. And she says, I don't know. That's what I feel. Like, okay. It wasn't important if I believed it or not, but I felt the presence of it, the calmness of it, and the ordinary. It was so ordinary. It was so normal. Have you recognized ever that feeling? It's beyond feeling at home. How do I say that? It's the same as, I just went on holiday for 2 weeks. I came back yesterday, and coming back in my home here in Amsterdam felt so normal and ordinary. It felt good to be here, but nothing, woo, right? Nothing, I'm home. No, I'm just here and it feels good. And I loved sleeping in my own bed again, right? And having my things around, and yeah, I felt good. So this is a bit the same, although even more ordinary. So ordinary that I had the analogy. I said, I have no words for it. It is not joy, because that's too much. That's beyond ordinary. It's not wonderful, I'm here. No, that's too much of an excitement. It was just, it feels right. It feels normal. I just want to say normal. It feels so normal. While I was on a place I've never been before, I thought that felt so normal. I said it, I described it, the analogy, like I feel like a postman energy, like a postman that does every day, bringing the mail around, talking with people or not, and having its same walk every day, and very ordinary. Could be beautiful or not, doesn't matter. That's just every day, that rhythm. And there's nothing exciting about being a postman. There's nothing negative about or not exciting. It's just, it is. Maybe it doesn't resonate, this analogy. For me, this makes so much sense. Just ordinary. And not with a judgment that's good or bad, but just that's what it is. So I hope that resonates in a bit, because I hear more people are feeling in this place of, I thought there was fireworks going to be shot off and I would get a medallion once I get there. None of such. So the next day I was with my sister on a walk and I said, can we tune back into it? So let me walk that same distance again. She says, well, start Earth and then put the Pleiadians here really close because I think the distance is going to be longer. Right? This is just a higher knowing. And I start to walk and she says, stop. This is where you were before. And then I kept walking and walking and walking, and there were some elements in between. And then she said, yeah, there you are, which was really far away. And it was no longer a place, because that didn't resonate with me. It was no longer a place, and I felt it. It's so beautiful to do it physically, standing somewhere. And I felt this huge expansion, still very ordinary, but no longer this long, tall being in a space, but just nothingness. Beingness. And I was like, oh. Again, it didn't feel any excitement or just, okay. I didn't feel it like that before. Nothing like that. No, I didn't feel anything like it. I would just want to say, when you're really calm in meditation, I'm not a meditator, so I don't really know how it is to be in a state of not thinking when you meditate. I have no idea if that's the same. I can't compare. I have never felt it like that. So the more I was tuning into it the days after, we were talking a few days ago, the more I've been tuning into it just by dropping into it, just by relaxing into it. There's not much to do. Before, if I would go into a state, which I thought was that, I would actually go up, elevate my frequency, which by now I do like this, boof, I'm there. Okay, I'm doing it now, but I don't really want to go there. I want to stay here. This feels, and so it was very nice to go down from the Pleiadians, because this actually feels below me. Like, this is where I'm embedded in. This is me, my human, just being embedded in all this. It's so difficult to put words to it. And what I understand is that this is the path, oh, that's too big a word, but this is how it feels. This is the path that we're here to walk. And it doesn't matter if you are in alignment with your higher self, if you're in that resonance, or if you are in this state of presence, in this state of being, it's more than presence, being the divine essence, being that and being that life. It doesn't really matter where you are, but that's the order of how a spiritual path goes, as I understand. I find that way too big words for me to speak when I'm only in this state for a few days. But this is really what's coming through. Very interesting. Before, I would feel my higher self speak through me. Oh, I've not noticed this before. Now it's just me saying it. And there's a little bit of my human. What do you think you are? What are you saying there? But this is what wants to be said. Wow. So that's way more integrated than there. Beautiful. What I noticed in the beginning, I would really feel the difference between my old state and my new state, and that's fading away so quickly. The pace of this is so incredibly fast that you're almost like, can this be true? But normally it would take months. It's now weeks, days. This is days. And I'm already feeling now that me feeling being in that state, I can hardly feel the difference anymore, because it's more and more pertinent as a state that I'm in, and it's no longer a state. I think that's what it is. It's just my natural place. And it's almost boring. I say almost because it's not really, but there's no excitement. There's no big feeling of joy, and it's pleasant. Definitely. Pleasant is a good word. It's pleasant. How are you? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not too or there. No, it's just a pleasant state. Yeah, I just want to call it state, but apparently it's not. To be in. So I'm so curious to hear from you where you are with that. And so I had a lot of questions. How can this be it? I have, for example, I really like the teaching of Bentinho Massaro. Be following that. Just not frequently, just now and then I see something and I'm listening. And whenever he tunes into that state of being, you see him smile and there's bliss and there's like, and I know that feeling. Yes. Yeah, whoa. You want to be in there all day. But this is not that. So I first was dismissing it, like this can't be it. So I'm talking a lot about things that I think is important to talk about. I don't know why. I don't have to know why. Because, okay, now the information I'm getting. Because I have been thinking that the end station is that, what Bentinho is saying. And what I see him when he does it, when he connects, he's just radiant, absolutely radiant. And this feeling of being my divine essence doesn't feel like that. And maybe that will come, I don't know. But it doesn't feel radiant. It feels so ordinary. It's pleasant, but very, very ordinary. And how life moves from there, I don't know. The little glimpses I've got of it is things more happen in the moment. I don't plan anything. I don't know what. September is almost there. I'm recording this on the 29th. I have no idea what I'm going to do in September. There's some little things still that I'm doing in my work that is fixed. For the rest, I have no idea. Absolutely none. And does it scare me? Not anymore. Do I know how I'm going to pay my rent? Well, I already didn't know that a few months ago, and I still don't know. And I have no clue how this new energy, that feels absolutely right and correct, that feels absolutely the energy I want to stay in. I don't think I have a choice anymore. No. Well, I do. I could just fight it and move and do things and start working somewhere and do things that are not feeling aligned. Could be. I like to just, that's what I noticed a few times in holiday, things just pop up naturally and then they evolve, right? I had someone in an Airbnb I spoke to really shortly and she opened up and I was like, ooh, shall I have a look at that? I'm so curious. And before we knew it, we sat on the kitchen table, had a session there about a family constellation and why a certain illness was a pattern in that family. And then we cleared it. So spontaneous. My old mind would think, have become so good in it. Let me now put a name on it and program it. And I'm like, let's just see how that unfolds. And if not, it's not in my mind, really. It was in my mind, surprising. I was surprised that wasn't coming in my mind, right? And I don't resonate with that. We will see how that develops. I think that's it for today. There's so many angles we can go from here towards, but I think this is beautiful as it is. I hope it helped you in any way. I have no idea. If so, love to hear. I think we're all on this together in the same path, this same moving forward. And if you're still a bit like, wow, okay, so that's where it's going. I don't even know if I want that. That's also fine. You have your free will on this path, right? It was beautiful to share with you. Thank you for listening to this. And from my heart to yours, much love. Bye-bye.